We're here at the SCTE Cable Tech Expo in Denver, and we have an opportunity to find out about a new development in the vein of home networking tied to the DLNA standard. And here to tell us about that is Amol Bhagwat, who is the Vice President of DLNA and also the Vice Chairman of the DLNA Board, and is Principal Architect for Video Systems and Technology at CableLabs. So that's quite a string of titles tied to what is obviously a manifestation of the growing importance of services and prescription services to subscription services to the fortunes of the device manufacturers and to the home networking environment. And so why don't you give us a sense of what is different now? DLNA has been certifying devices for a long, long time. Now comes VidiPath, and it's billed as a certification process tied to enabling those devices to receive high-level premium content.
Right. So up until now, DLNA certification and certified devices were able to predominantly play back personal media of consumers, such as personal photos, videos, and music. What VidiPath brings in is ability to stream subscription content from your favorite pay TV operator, cable operator, satellite operator, or telco, and ability to stream that content from a central set-top box or a gateway device provided by the operator onto any device of your choice, such as game console, television, tablet, or mobile phone, without requiring additional set-top boxes from your operator. That's the VidiPath guidelines and certification will bring to the CE devices and consumers.
Now, obviously, this requires buy-in on the part of a lot of players, including the studios, the television networks. How widespread is the support for this standard now?
So we are certainly seeing that there is more support to the specification from the U.S. cable operators here in the United States, and also parts of it in the Canadian region in the cable operator community. But we are also starting to see interest from European operators as well as Japanese operators in the technology. And certainly CE manufacturers see this as a way to get content, premium content, from service providers without requiring an additional set-top box in front of those televisions. So they see that it adds more value to their smart devices, smart TVs and things like that, rather than just acting as a glass for the service provider content.
What about the license holders?
So you mean content providers, right? So VidiPath leverages DTCP IP as a link protection technology for content protection over the home network. And majority of the studios here in the US and MPA has actually approved DTCP IP for protecting the content as it is being transmitted over the home network. So most of the studios we believe are okay with the technology, and that's been part of DLNA for past 6-7 years.
So if I understand the scenario correctly, if an operator is using a content protection mechanism that is approved for getting that content to the set-top box or the home media gateway, then from that point, if the operator wants to make that content available to connected devices over the home, then DTCP IP would be considered sufficient protection for live streaming of that content by the license holders.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. So using DTCP IP and VidiPath, cable operators can stream live content, DVR content, VOD content. As a matter of fact, any content that they have license to, they can stream it using DTCP IP within home. So use of DTCP IP is technology provides mechanisms to restrict the content access to just devices within home. So that's another piece that makes the license holders more comfortable and allows distribution of the content within home.
Is there any thought being given, or is there some aspect of this that would be an extension outside the home for something like a Sling application?
Yeah, so we have seen some interest around those types of use cases, and there are some solutions available. As you mentioned, Sling is one solution. I think DTCP/IP also has developed extensions to support such remote access scenarios. You know, as we see more and more interest in that, VidiPath guidelines can easily be extended to support those types of scenarios if there is sufficient interest in the marketplace.
So that's an interesting bellwether, because you know we hear about those sorts of applications being offered by different software middleware providers mimicking the Sling concept, but it's been unclear to us, you know, the level of enthusiasm on the part of the operators for that. It's not gotten to the point yet where they are saying we need those extensions to DTCP/IP.
Right, I think that's what we are seeing, but as you know, just recently on the show floor in the last couple of days, I've had 2-3 conversations just about that. So you never know, you know.
So it's building.
It's probably
perhaps.
building, yeah, perhaps, yeah.
One of the things I understand that makes this extraordinary from the standpoint of the DLNA compatibility with the service provider's agendas is this whole idea of extending a uniform user interface across to all these devices, and that's actually part of the certification. Can you explain how that works?
Yeah. So correct. I think ability to provide consistent user experience and user interface, that is MSO guide, on any device that consumer chooses, whether TV or a tablet or a mobile phone or a game console, is one of the very key requirements, central requirement as a part of the VidiPath guidelines, and that is provided using HTML5 based remote user interface solution. So it makes use of HTML5 standard, which allows MSOs and service providers to develop guides based on HTML5, and then inherently as part of HTML5, those HTML5 applications can be are tailored according to the device that you're connecting to or the screen size that you're connecting to. So service providers can have one centralized application that is served remotely from the cloud, and that can adapt to different devices that are requesting the service and still provide the same user experience. So HTML5 RUI is one of the key requirements, key feature as part of VidiPath, and all the VidiPath certified devices need to have HTML5 based browser that has some extensions on top of baseline HTML5 specification defined by DLNA, which allows playback of video within the HTML5 page, trick modes, and also presentation of various cable operator regulatory services such as closed captions, emergency alert messages, secondary audio programming, and all that.
So this could have a profound effect on kind of streamlining and unifying how things are done across all devices. What about the CE manufacturers and their precious protection of some of their own methods of doing that? Are they willing to look at this and say, okay, to get certified, we're going to put this in there?
Yeah, so I think certainly we are seeing interest from the big C manufacturers as well. As a matter of fact, for the VidiPath specification development effort, it has been a multi-industry effort within DLNA. Not only the US cable operators, but also big C companies such as Samsung, Sony, as well as chip manufacturers such as Broadcom and Intel have been active participants and contributors to the specification. And I think HTML5 is becoming a kind of a global standard for distributing or offering integrated video and user interface solutions on the CE platforms. So we are seeing the trend that they are also embracing that because the same platform they can use for their services as well. So it is not that it's a one-off implementation. Yeah, it's for just for cable operators or service providers. They can use it for their services as well. So I think that's why probably we are seeing greater support from the CE manufacturers.
When you look at how this has evolved and the way in which streaming is now becoming part of the whole service provider environment, do you feel that there's room for more to happen in the way of DLNA standard extensions? We talked about outside the home, but also there's the whole business of storing media on devices that's been delivered by the service provider, and at this point, that's kind of up to the service provider to deliver that protection. Might that become part of DLNA eventually?
Yeah, so I think certainly there are extended use cases. We talked about the outside the home, streaming outside the home. Then there are scenarios, sync and go scenarios, where you store the content on your PC or tablet and watch it outside. There are scenarios where content can be, we call it mobile sharing scenarios, where you can start watching content on your tablet, but then move it on to your big screen TV. If you like the programming a lot and you want to watch it on the big screen TV, then you can move it from your tablet to your big screen TV. So those are additional use cases that DLNA is considering. Additionally, I think VidiPath also can be extended for direct cloud content delivery directly from the cloud to the consumer's home. So that can happen inside the home or maybe outside the home as well. So those are some of the additional use cases that are worth considering.
As the consumer electronics manufacturers embrace this whole idea, is this something that is going to kind of create a dividing line between, say, most of the devices that are already on the retail shelves and will require another generation, or is there some way of actually loading this in remotely on devices that are already out there?
So the specification as such does not preclude software upgrade of the devices that are already in the field. But HTML5 RUI being the major feature, if the existing devices in the retail shelf or installed base devices have enough hardware capacity to receive those software upgrades, then I don't see why existing devices can't be upgraded to support VidiPath functionality. But I think that will vary based on manufacturer to manufacturer or from device model to device model. But from the specification point of view, I think it is certainly possible to do a software upgrade of existing devices.
Now, what is your gauge on when we'll see VidiPath certified devices in the retail stores and promoted as what the consumer needs to buy to be able to use that device with their subscription service?
So DLNA has launched a VidiPath certification program. We know that about 15-20 companies are actively working on developing products and services about this. We hope to see some devices getting certified by end of this year or early next year, but maybe by sometime in the middle of 2015 is when I think you would start seeing devices in the retail shelf with VidiPath logo and certification.
Now, is the marketing and promotion of this concept going to be handed off to somebody that would, serve as an industry force toward making sure the consumers are aware, making sure the retailers are conveying this information? Because otherwise, how will the consumer know?
Right. So I think that hasn't been determined as yet, but the expectation is that the CE manufacturers and the device makers who are building the products will put it on their boxes when they are certified, and the service providers will mention on their websites, etc., that their service is available to the devices with VidiPath logo on it. That's how we see how the marketing is likely to happen on this front.
I guess I would surmise it might become part of that whole CTAM TV Everywhere initiative, because it seems to play into that very nicely. To make the consumer more aware of the TV Everywhere service, they need to be made aware of VidiPath as well.
Probably, yeah. It hasn't been brought up, but yeah, I think it's a potential.
Yeah. Well, Amol, thank you very much for your time. This is really a fascinating development.
Yeah. Thank you, Fred.
Yeah.